So, veteran to veteran, I know you asked me for advice on solar systems, so I'm just going to walk you through a 12 volt system, which is probably what you should start with. There's 24 volt systems, 48 volt systems, even higher ones. The 12 volt is what you probably want to do initially to get your experience down. And you don't have to have a huge old deal. You can have a small deal. So this is part one. Okay, so what am I trying to show you in part one? Well, you can't see it that well, obviously, because it's pretty bright. There's a sun up there, okay? And it's going to come down at a certain angle. You see how, I don't know if you can see, but there's a shadow on the panels, right? That's me, or my hand. So basically, you want to angle the panels to get as close as you can, you know, reasonably to how the sun shines. You see the shadow right there? I know you can see that pretty well. So you can kind of see, judging off of the shadow, that the light's hitting here, and what your job is to do is collect the light, the photons, right? So it's just like a catcher's mitt in football or baseball. You gotta catch those photons, right? So what am I trying to say? Well, you can do the flat panel, but the problem with that, see how it's flat? It's not a great angle. It's not as efficient. So what you want to do is have a slope panel. This is my 24 volt system, by the way. So I'm just showing you the different angles. But you see how that's stacked on there on pallets, right? Gives you an extra option. Now, why would you want flat panel? Well, in this case, I was limited for space, experimenting and stuff. But ideally, you want to have something like this. See there where that's being shaded by this plant? That's a bad thing. Certain types of panels, that'll disable them. So anyway, the main thing I want to show you in this video is how to make a very basic rack for almost no money. Here you have a pallet. Okay, these are if you're not familiar with these, they're used in the shipping and cargo. Basically, you see this indentation here, it's broke right here, indentation here. Well, a forklift comes and scoops in, and it's able to carry this around with some stuff on it that's heavy. But they're basically, people try to get rid of them. They don't understand the value of a good pallet, but I do. Okay, what do you have here? That's a cinder block. Okay, you can buy these at Walmart for like $2, $3. So what have I done? I put a pallet on a cinder block. Why? Because we get kind of an angle, roughly 45-degree angle, so that the sun can hit the panel or panels in an advantageous way. Now this is a very sturdy setup. I'm putting my weight on this damn thing. I can jump on it, whatever. This is about as cheap as you can get and still have a good system. Okay? You don't have to buy a bunch of fancy racks and all that garbage. Right? There's a lot of solar systems that insist on it. Certain coating and whatever. But hopefully you're pretty far away from all those stupid ass things. And people talk about grounding. Well, these are touching the ground, so they're grounded. Okay, if you don't want that, you can have them up a little bit. So these are 100-watt panels. Okay, 100-watt panel comes in different chemistries. Okay, these are polycrystalline. Poly meaning multiple. Okay, they're a little cheaper. The monocrystalline means single crystal, right? What's a monocrystalline? This is a monocrystalline. Usually they're black. Polycrystallines are usually blue. Okay? There's other types as well. There's SIGs and there's CIS. Frontier Solar has taken a SIGs CIG and called it CIS. You can look those up. They're state of the art. Don't know too much about them, don't have any. So you have monocrystalline. Notice this panel is a little smaller. It's roughly 90 watts. It's a little bit smaller than that. The reason for the smaller size is it's more efficient, so they can make them smaller. Why would you want something smaller? Well, to fit on a vehicle like an RV or something, or a boat, where space is a premium. Mono is also more expensive. This happens to be I have 4 of these. I haven't installed them just yet. These are Chinese made. Those are Chinese made. Most solar panels are pretty good, no matter where they're made. They got to pass testing or whatever, so don't get hung up on where they're made. Where do you get them? Amazon.com, eBay, Craigslist. Look around. These are basic 100 watters, 12 volts. Okay, I'm going to show you what a tag looks like. This is on the monocrystalline. Okay, that's kind of the info you're going to be looking for. We'll look at a polycrystalline. I remember both of these versions came from a Chinese company called EcoWorthy, and they have another design coming out, so you can't even find these anymore. So what are some issues? Well, these are called snail trails. You see these micro cracks? See that? I don't know what they're caused by. Probably by snow putting weight on these. I don't even know if these panels do so well with those. Obviously they probably don't. So you need to watch out for those. I think it's snow load that did that. I only have 2 panels that have those micro cracks, and they probably reduce the panel. So how do you connect them? Okay, the industry standard now is called MC4. And that's what you want to look for. They're the easiest to use. Okay, that's what an MC4 male connector looks like. It's male because that looks like a penis right there. See? Just like a lot of... Hey, I didn't invent the terminology. And that looks like a vag right there. Right? So it's male, female. MC4s, right? There are other types of connections. Try to stay away from them. Proprietary connections, whatever. I don't know. This might be called MC2 or something. It's weird. I have an adapter that makes these into MC4. But if you're buying panels, especially used ones, try to get the MC4 standard. You'll thank yourself later. So this video is going to be up here pretty soon. But I'll just mention a couple other things, and I'll do a part 2. So basically, this is all a 12 volt system, right? Each one of these is roughly 400 watts, ideally 400 watts, 400 watts, 100 watt, 100 watt, 100 watt, 100 watt, 100 watt. Okay, this is a standalone, right? That has a separate deal. It's just, I think it's 140 watt or something. But anyway, these will all go to the same battery bank. And what I'll do in part 2 is I'll probably have these hooked up, and I will show you what a good charge controller looks like. An MPPT, multi power point tracking. That's the kind you want to try to get. And I'll show you a standard charge controller that doesn't have that. That one there has a standard charge controller. So I'll show you both types, just like I showed you mono and poly. And so anyway, yeah, I've had to redo some things. This is an opportunity to show you what's up. So basically out of this video I introduced you to mono and polycrystalline panels. I also mentioned CIGs, CIGs, and CIS, SIS, or sorry, CIS. Right? Those are some new technologies. There's other technologies as well. I bought for a friend, another veteran, some panels that were monocrystalline, but they had Fresnel lenses on them, which is kind of weird combination. I don't have an example here. They're all at his house. But what else? So there's different technologies for solar. I emphasize you need to try to get the cheapest you can find. At least initially starting out. So get a couple 100 watts. They're running between well, under 150 bucks a piece. You can probably get them less if you buy multiples. And each one of these has, okay, I introduced you to the MC4 connectors. So I showed you a different type, which you want to keep away from. I also introduced you to basic, very basic, I think the basic, most basic, cheapest racking you can find, which is pallets and cinder blocks, right? Challenge you to find a cheaper way to do it. They're also movable, you can move them around, all that. And then what else? I talked about charge controllers, but I'll show you in the next video some more info on that. But I want to keep these videos super easy and informative. So I hope this helps you, and we'll do some more info as can when can. Now, don't just use me as a resource. Try to look on YouTube and stuff on what other people are doing. But I emphasize, don't get all caught up in the racking. I have a buddy that was all intrepid about racking, and he spent a ton of money. And you don't need all that. Just need pallets and cinder blocks, I'm telling you. Right? Don't be that guy. You don't have to. It's nice to get proper racking, obviously, but you're going to be paying a lot of money. You don't need to be doing that just for a little setup. So, okay. So I want to keep this video simple. And I think I pretty much covered that. So in the next video, I want to cover MPPT charge controllers, standard charge controllers, and I'll probably show you the battery, the basic lead acid battery. I might go into Edison batteries. I don't have those working yet, but I can just kind of roughly show you what the deal is with that. That's like some advanced Einstein stuff. I'm telling you. I wish I had known that starting out, but anyway, I want to do the basic levels, so we're not doing super hard, intimidating crap. So, 12-volt system, very basic. All right, cool. All right, for the rest of you, this has been Military Industrial Museum. I hope you enjoy my videos. If you don't, there's lots of other videos from other producers. Don't waste your time with my stuff. Time's valuable. So anyway, just remember to get outside, breathe the fresh air, do a couple things. I'm glad you're researching stuff. Congratulations, you're on the right path. And who am I? What am I? Basically a guy that's trying to do alternative power. I got other ideas going on, a veteran type, and I think a lot of veterans that were over in the Middle East that had to guard all that petroleum kind of realize energy is a huge issue, and if you're wise, just start producing your own versus having to import and paying all this money. These aren't hooked up yet, but when they are, they're like tireless workers that generate power I can use for other things, power I don't have to pay for anymore. Once the infrastructure is put in, it's very little money, just a couple, maybe replace a couple wires, or random stuff, or maybe you get snail trails in a panel and you want to replace that. But the more money you invest in your infrastructure, the more you're able to produce your own energy, even your own food, different things like that. The less you're dependent on the system, and the more free you are. So it all goes together. I hope to start producing my own food and things like that. Number one is energy. You need energy to do everything. It's the foundation. I hesitate to say this, but if you really want to get deep into what's going on, this is like extra homework. There's a screed, there's an essay, there's a white paper. It's called Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. I don't know if it's true, but it talks about how energy is going to be limited to people to keep them down, to keep them from getting too independent and stuff. So check out that paper. I don't know if it's true, but the formula is true. You can't do much in life unless you have energy. And if you're being charged for your energy, that's a limitation. So if you're smart, you make your own energy. And you don't have to stop with one panel. You can go 10 panels, 20, 30, 100. Get as many panels as you can get. And there's other things to go with that, like batteries, etc., etc. But what I'm saying is, if you become your own energy company, you can't be limited. We've all paid huge bills for electricity, especially in the winter. And what that does is it takes money away from our other ideas and things we want to do. It limits us. So all I'm saying is, if you can control your own energy, or start producing your own, you'll be a lot freer. You won't be limited. So look into that. Alright, I think I've said enough. Did you understand what happened here? I hope so.